Last episode it was heartbreak once again, this time in the Europa League after getting knocked out in the round of 16, and with the FA Cup and the Premier League our last remaining chances of glory, it's time for the players to pull themselves together as we head into the countdown to the end of the season. But as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. And of course, we will be starting out with your comments. In terms of Gyökeres, try to get him in behind. One thing I've noticed in this game is that no one really makes runs into the box unless they have it on. So yes, after that dismal performance against Spurs at the last game of the last episode, losing 2-1 and barely being able to create any opportunities, it kind of got me worried about the form of this man Victor Gyökeres. Since joining us in January for a fee of over 45 million, he hasn't exactly lit up the London Stadium like I thought he would, despite him scoring two fabulous goals to help lead us to the Carabao Cup final against Manchester City. In the Premier League and in other cup competitions, he hasn't exactly been particularly good, only scoring 4 times since joining the club, as the other 3 were with his previous team. Now, in order to try and get the best out of the big Swede, I did decide to move away from this more tiki-taka 4-3-3 false 9 system back to a more rigid 4-2-3-1 formation, which would hopefully allow me to utilise the likes of Jarrod Bowen on the right hand side and Mohamed Kudus on the left hand side to get as wide as possible and to try and fling some balls into the box for the big man. And with me initially setting him up as a target player, I thought that would be the perfect instruction for him based on the physical capabilities that he has. But as you rightly say, clearly it still isn't working. So I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to encourage him to try and get in behind. I'm going to encourage my team to move away from this slow build-up, to try and add a little bit more pace offensively, and also to try and encourage as many players to make as many forward runs as possible to try and join the big Swede in attack. Let's see as this episode progresses whether any of those little tweaks will have any impact on this man's career at West Ham United. You need a new central midfielder, as James Ward-Prowse is great, but he is old. You need someone young. Perhaps Alex Scott is a great option. Quinton Timber from Ajax is a better option, but I guess someone like De Paul, he could be the player that you need in the centre of the park. Now, to be fair, I do think that is a little bit harsh on James Ward-Prowse. He's an important player at the club, and with him contributing with 9 goals and 11 assists so far this campaign, he's had a pretty decent one in the heart of my central midfield. However, you are right though, with him being 29 years of age and only 79 rated, it is highly unlikely that he's going to grow and develop any further. So if I do want to take this team to the next level, it is certainly an area of the pitch that I'm going to have to look to improve in the summer transfer window. Alex Scott is a very interesting shout. With him being English and 20 years of age, he certainly fits into the ethos of West Ham United to try and bring in some young and talented players. However, with him just joining Bournemouth very recently, how comfortable would the South Coast club be in letting him go, and how much of a fee would they demand for the young man? Quinton Timber at 22 years of age would be another young player who would perfectly fit into the ethos of those types of signings for West Ham United, and with him having the flexibility to be able to play in central defensive midfield, central midfield and central attacking midfield, he could be a fantastic option. Plus, with Feyenoord in absolutely fantastic form in the Dutch league over the last couple of years, and this man being a shining light in the midfield for them, I'm sure it's only a matter of time in real life before he makes a move to the Premier League. Could West Ham United be that very team? As for Rodrigo De Paul, there can be absolutely no doubt, yes, he would make an immediate improvement to my starting 11, and he would come in and be the best central midfielder at the club. He's got fantastic all-round stats, absolutely brilliant. He would be a powerhouse and add much-needed Champions League experience to my team. However, with him being 29 years of age, in the peak of his powers, playing for a huge club in Atletico Madrid, would he want to make the move to West Ham at this point in his career? I don't know if I'm quite sure. I think you should sell Kurt Zouma for a big price and sign Kieran Tierney from Arsenal, as he's not needed. He's currently out on loan at Real Sociedad, and you'll be able to buy him as he'll only have 12 months remaining on his contract. Now, Kurt Zouma is a very interesting case. He was a linchpin of my defence in the opening few months of the season, with him being a leader amongst men amongst the group. However, since his big injury earlier on in the season, leaving him out of the team for about 2 months, he struggled to find a way back in. And when he has, he's gone and given away really important penalties at really pivotal moments in the game. One of those that cost us the Carabao Cup. And now, having been displaced in the starting 11 by the likes of Mavropanos and Ajerd, he's decided to go to the media to complain about his apparent lack of game time, which I'm sure is not just unsettling for him, but also for the rest of the squad. And similar to James Ward-Prowse, with him being 29 years of age and only 79 rated, he is highly unlikely to improve any further. So I certainly think I'm going to need to make a big call in the summer for the future of the Frenchman, and he could well be one of the players that will be departing West Ham United when the summer transfer window opens. Now, Kieran Tierney is someone who, I've got to be honest, I hadn't had any consideration for whatsoever, but I actually think it could be a very smart move, and a realistic one at that. With him being just 26 years of age, I definitely think he's got the best years ahead of him, having had a couple of bad seasons at Arsenal, and with the 34-year-old Aaron Cresswell going to be leaving the club with his contract up in 2 months come the end of the season, and having dropped down to a 71 rated, and whilst the 78 rated Emerson has had a pretty decent campaign so far filling in at left back, similar to the other two players I've mentioned so far, with him being 29 years of age, he's highly unlikely to develop any further. Similar to central midfield and central defence, I certainly believe that left back is going to be a position that I certainly want to try and improve come the summer, and once I hear back from my scouts to see exactly what Arsenal will be requiring for his services, who knows? Maybe Kieran Tierney could be a really astute signing. However, with the transfer window clearly slammed shut and with us heading into the final couple of months of the season, I am going to be relying on the players that I've got at my disposal to try and get us over the line. But after getting knocked out of the Europa League and suffering a bitter disappointment against Spurs in the Premier League, with just 8 games remaining, I'm hoping my season is not about to unravel. However, it does seem like we are still, for some reason, in the fight for the final Champions League spot, as we are just 3 points behind Arsenal with a game in hand. Plus, with all of the big 6 teams being knocked out of the FA Cup, we have been drawn against Everton in what I believe is a winnable semi-final, meaning that we are just potentially 2 games away from FA Cup glory. Before we do that though, let's see if we can get our Premier League campaign back on track after that dismal defeat against Spurs as we head to the Molineux to face off against the Wolves team fighting relegation. With my players fit and fresh and raring to go, it is a return to my strongest starting 11. Areola in goal, Van Ewig, Aguerd, Mavropanos and Emerson at the back, James Ward-Prowse and Alvarez in midfield, Jared Bowen, Paquetá and Kudos start behind Gyökeres up front. And this is a really good opportunity firsthand to see whether or not these new tactical tweaks will make any difference to the performance of some of these players, as Kudos picks it up in a dangerous spot and gives it to Mavropanos. And now he's going to try and see if he can play this one all the way out to the right-hand side to Van Ewig. He's got acres of space here to burst forward into the Wolves half here. Van Ewig keeps going, but in the end, Gyökeres, maybe he's getting used to this new instruction. Tried to drop deep, tried to continue to be the target man, didn't get the memo of trying to break the lines, but eventually Kudos did manage to get the memo, and he's won it back, and now the big squeeze can try and bring it forward yet again into Kudos. Kudos is just going to try and hold the ball up here. I've got to try and see if I can pick out Gyökeres in the box. Emerson this time to try and float it across, looking for James Ward-Prowse, but Paquetá gets in it almost. Loops over the goalkeeper, Jose Sarr. Got a little bit of luck with the deflection, but in the end it was easy for the Wolves goalkeeper. Into James Ward-Prowse. This game really starting to open up in the heart of the midfield here as Emerson, now the Italian left back, is the man to try and drive forward, looking for the run of Gyökeres. Managed to find him in the box, and that is a finish of absolute beauty from the big Swede, and it just goes to show that these tactical tweaks are having an immediate impact. What a way to get back in the goal-scoring charts in the Premier League. Brilliant build-up play yet again. We win the ball back high up the field, and Gyökeres just having the ability to get the ball out of his feet and just give himself a yard so he can get a shot off. And my word, what a shot it was. An absolute bullet, a rocket into the top left-hand corner. 1-0 West Ham. Emerson, though, tries to win it back, and Emerson almost wins it back, but eventually Wolves do manage just to play through the press, and now it's Neto down this right-hand side. I've got no cover here as he's just got the strength to shrug off James Ward-Prowse, who's trying to come back and defend. In the end, he does just enough, but Wolves have got a corner, and it's one that Connor is going to take, a man who has been heavily suggested for me to buy in the summer transfer window, as is this man Neto. Several Wolves players here looking to try and see if they can impress in front of me here today as Hwang now into Bellegarde. Lovely little turn to get away from Emerson, I believe, back into Neto. Lovely stuff from Wolves, but are they just overplaying it inside my penalty area? Unable to get a shot off so far. Hwang blocked off by James Ward-Prowse. Brilliant defending, and that just goes to show too many touches, too many passes from the Wolves players there, and they've wasted a big opportunity as Gyökeres is going to try and float this one over to Kudos. It's a lovely ball. Kudos has picked that up in his stride, and he's continued his run. I was trying to play it into the channel. It was good defending in the end, and now Wolves get the ball clear. Max Kilman's trying to bring it out of defence for Wolves, and he gets that ball a little bit wrong there, and it's easy for Alvarez just to nod down. I'm going to try and look for the run of Kudos down this left-hand side, who's taking it in his stride really nicely. Can I try and see if I can lift the ball up to Emerson on the left-hand side? My word, their left-back on the volley. What a fabulous goal that would have been. Wolves very lucky to get the deflection. It's going to be James Ward-Prowse who's going to take the resulting corner. The set-piece specialist is going to try and see if he can find the big man Mavropanos at the back, and it's a big header. It's an even better save. This time it's going to be Paquetá to take it on the other side, and once again I'm going to try the tried and trusted tactic, throwing it into the box. This time it's Ait-Nouri who wins it up ahead of Jared Bowen, who's been uncharacteristically quiet so far in this game. Wolves able to clear their lines in spite of the heavy West Ham press. Ait-Nouri, he loses that to Kudos. Really good play, really good pressure once again into Gyökeres, who's just straight offside. While playing right on the shoulder, that is exactly where I want him to be. just straight offside, but if he'd just been half a yard back, he would have been clean through and could have been 2-0. Areola, oh my word, this man is living life on the edge here as he tries to wriggle away from the challenge of Gomez. My word, he almost got his wires mixed up there. He's managed to find James Ward-Prowse. Incredible composure from the goalkeeper there. Max Kilman for Wolves. It's Mavropanos, the centre-back, who's out trying to pressure. My word, what on earth is he doing there? But eventually Somerville on as a substitute is the man who wins it back. And now with the fresh legs, he can try and see if he can race clear here. It's a race right into the penalty area. Can he try and play the ball across into Gyökeres? That is his second. It's our second on the 76th minute. And have we put a 2-goal cushion between ourselves and Wolves that will hopefully give us the 3 points here today. Huge goal, huge counter-attack, and it is that energy that man Somerville has provided on as a sub. But it is the late run in the box from the big Swede, latching on to the through ball, fires it into an empty net. It's his second, 2-0. Into Kurt Zuma on as a substitute, and Kurt Zuma's going to try and play this one down the line into Jared Bowen. It's a lovely ball, and Jared Bowen now continues into the box, plays it back for Gyökeres on the volley, looking for his hat-trick. It was blocked off though. Back down the line into Jared Bowen, really nicely taken. He's going to look for the overlapping run of Van Ewig, and he does find the young man. He's going to try and float this one into the box, looking for Gyökeres, but finds James Ward-Prowse on the volley, and yet again it's blocked. We are deep into stoppage time, and we have Wolves exactly where we want them. We've got a corner here. We're going to float it in. We're going to look for our third. It's Jared Bowen on the head. Doesn't manage to get to it. Emerson will try and get to the loose ball. He does knock it down. Back into Paquetá. Returns really nicely. Going to try and see if he can float this one back into the box. Another Gyökeres once again looking for his hat-trick. He's blocked off as the referee blows for full time. Well, it's a comfortable win in the end as I shake the hand of the Wolves manager, but it is a win that we desperately needed nonetheless. A big performance, especially from the big Swede. 2 goals to his name. Brilliantly adapted to this new tactical tweak to help us along our way to a 2-0 victory. And that is exactly the sort of performance that this big man needed to put in. It's very simple, but getting him into the box on more occasions has worked wonders. 2 goals, and now he is right back at it, and hopefully he can continue that form into the back end of the season. And after taking that positive momentum into our very next game in the Premier League against Wolves, it's Jared Bowen who gets on the score sheet along with the big Swede once again as we beat Fulham 2-1. And 2 back-to-back wins and 6 points on the board lifts us from 7th place all the way up to 4th for the first time in this season. We are really in the hunt for that final Champions League spot. But let's forget about that for a second because it's time for us to get distracted elsewhere. That is right. Where else would it be better to turn our attention to but to Wembley Stadium for what is going to be an absolutely titanic clash in front of the Evertonians and the travelling West Ham fans, as we've got a huge clash in the FA Cup semi-final against Everton. 1 win and we will be into the final and our first chance of silverware this season. And of course, hot off the heels of that brilliant performance against Wolves, as you can see, no changes to my usual starting 11. Let's go out and let's put ourselves in the final. But of course, Everton is a team I know oh too well, having only just recently finished a career mode with them, a career mode that saw us have a lot of success, but it's success that I'm going to try and take away from them here today as I'm in charge of West Ham United, as Alvarez there inside the opening 10 minutes tried to fire off a strike from distance, but got it all wrong. Truffert now for Everton as they try and see if they can make a foray into my half for the first time so far in this game, as Truffert now has it back on the left-hand side. They're just looking for an option up ahead, but they can't seem to break down my midfield and my defence so far. But McTominay looks to do just that, plays it into Dele Alli, the former Wonder Kid, trying to reignite his career here at Everton as Areola forced into a very good save. It's going to be that man Dele Alli who's going to take the corner. It looks like he's going to float it right into the box. He does, right on the edge of the 6-yard box. Assured and the goalkeeper getting a little bit mixed up there, as now Decore has it in a dangerous position. James Ward-Prowse though with a big challenge. And it's a silly penalty, and I do not believe it. Yet again, in a huge game, we've got given away a penalty. What is going on this career mode? James Ward-Prowse this time with the silly challenge. I mean, it's a little bit of a soft one, but I'm sure we can't have any complaints. And our third huge game, and yet again at Wembley, we've got given away a penalty. Dele Alli's going to step up to take. He sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. It's a thumping penalty, absolutely brilliant. And Everton take a 1-0 lead. Well, Dele Alli never really looked in doubt, to be honest. Completely sent me the wrong way. A lovely penalty. Sean Dyche is delighted. I'm so frustrated. 1-0. Well, what on earth is going on? We gave away a penalty against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup final. We gave away a penalty against Real Sociedad in the dying seconds of the game in the second leg, which knocked us out of the Europa League. And now, in the semi-final of the FA Cup, we've gone and done it again for a third time this season. This time, it's James Ward-Prowse. He looks to try and make amends playing it into the big Swede, but he gets it all wrong. And Everton now can try and bring this one away as they look to build on their lead here. As Thielman now down the right-hand side, he's been blocked off by Kudos, who's done a really good job defensively at getting back. Ashley Young now has it, and Everton have got to build out from the back yet again into McTominay. They've really got their tails up here as they try and see if they can create another opportunity as Dwight McNeil tries to get away from the challenge of Ajerd, and he's done that really nicely. Decore back into McTominay now. McTominay wriggling around here, lining up a strike, fires it against the centre-back. Van Awig wins it back, and now Jared Bowen can bring this one clear. Can we try and see if we can gain some sort of control into this game as Van Awig plays it into the channel? Jared Bowen's just straight offside. Into Paqueta, takes it really nicely on the turn, wriggling away. Really good stuff there, and Emerson now to play it into the middle, into Gyökeres, who takes it on, fires it straight to Pickford. That is a big save, and that's a big opportunity that we've missed on the stroke of half-time. Well, as we begin the second half here, we've got it all to do. It's Everton who have got 1 foot in the final. We've got to get 2 goals to try and see if we can progress. We've got a big 45 minutes up ahead of us. Down the line into Jared Bowen, who's taken it and just ghosted round the defender into Gyökeres, who once again has taken it well, and he's forced Pickford into a big save. He's had a couple of big chances so far, neither of which he could take, but the signs are good that our attack is starting to breathe some life into it as Jared Bowen with another big save from Jordan Pickford to deny the Englishman. James Ward-Prowse with another corner here. We are starting to build momentum. It's into Gyökeres. It's headed away by Tarkowski. Ajerd is going to try and get there ahead of Dwight McNeil. He does just that to keep the momentum going. Van Awig now to try and bring it forward. Plays it into James Ward-Prowse. Skips away from a challenge. Tried to play it through Decore. Doesn't manage to. Tries to hit it again, but Decore blocks. Good defending from Everton, but Van Awig is in there. Brilliant, brilliant pressure. Lucas Paqueta now to try and play it forward. Into Kudos on the left-hand side to cut it back. I was looking for the ball back into the Brazilian. Couldn't quite find him. Big opportunity that's gone begging. Ashley Young now. Blocked off by Mavropanis to try and bring this one forward. This game is really starting to come alive here as Lucas Paqueta picks it up. Tries to play it into Jared Bowen. Good reading of the game from Adrian Truffert as now Thielman can try and bring this one away for Everton down the right-hand side. Where on earth is he going with this one? He's got no options up ahead of him whatsoever, and he goes and gives it away to Gyökeres, who's come deep to try and collect, and Gyökeres now can try and play this one over to the left-hand side to Kudos, who can run onto it. Kudos has done a really good job, but he can't get past Ashley Young. That's really poor. Into McTominay. McTominay's looking to be blocked off by Lucas Paqueta. We've got about 20 minutes remaining on the clock here to try and find a way back into this game, but at the moment it's Beto who's got it and plays it into Danjuma as a sub. Fires it straight to Dariola, but the warning signs are there. Decore blocked off by Lucas Paqueta. Really good challenge there, and now can he try and see if he can release James Ward-Prowse? He does, and the Englishman is not going to have the pace to get away from the defenders in the end. Tarkowski with some real solid defending to put a block in, but now Alvarez tried to do the same to Decore, but Decore skipped away from him, and now Everton can bring it forward. They've got Beto in the channel here. He manages to get past Mavropanos. He's going past Ajerd, but that's good recovery defending, really nice. And now once again we can try and bring the ball forward, end-to-end stuff here as Somerville on as a substitute, plays it into Gyökeres. Now I'm going to try and play it down the channel, but it's Cardona with a big challenge, and we can't seem to break down this stubborn Everton defence. Emerson wins it back into Somerville with the fresh legs. He's going to try and see if he can burst down this left-hand side. Can I try and play it central into Lucas Paqueta? But once again the centre-backs of Everton holding firm. Gyökeres wins it back though, pressing high, tries to play it in. It's Decore who wins it back. It's so congested in the centre. Gyökeres manages to wriggle away, forces Pickford into a save. Somerville keeps the ball alive, my word. Plays it back this time into James Ward-Prowse, who lines up a strike on his right. Doesn't manage to take it. Van Awig now into Jared Bowen. My word, we've managed to keep this attack alive. Jared Bowen, though, throws it into the box to absolutely no one. Everton bring it clear. The referee blows for full time. Well, we huffed and we puffed, but we just could not blow down the door. And Everton are the team celebrating as Sean Dyche salutes the Evertonians. It is going to be Everton in the final of the FA Cup. Once again, we have lost a huge game in a knockout tie, and once again, it's all down to a soft penalty that we've given away at the most pivotal of moments. Full-time era finishes, Everton 1, West Ham 0. Well, in a cup competition that all the big six teams have been knocked out of, we have now joined them as Dele Alli managed to net the winner for Everton. And it's so frustrating because with Fulham beating Aston Villa 4-3 on penalties, I would have put us as favourites going into the final. Another huge opportunity missed. And there's going to be no one who's more disappointed than this man, James Ward-Prowse. In the absence of Kurt Zouma, he has taken on the mantle of captain of West Ham United. And at the most pivotal moment, he's gone and given away a really soft penalty that once again has cost us. And with the summer transfer window only a couple of months from being open and me looking to bolster my midfield ahead of the new season, oh, that is not the sort of performance and not the sort of mistake that James Ward-Prowse can afford to make. Fortunately enough, though, it's time to get back on the horse, and Gyökeres has responded with immediate effect. 2 goals in our very next Premier League game gives us a 2-1 victory against Aston Villa. And with just 5 games remaining in our campaign, and with us being locked in 4th place, 2 points ahead of Liverpool in 5th. Of course, who else is it going to be but that very team Liverpool, whom we're going to be welcoming to the London Stadium for a titanic clash that's going to have huge ramifications to the Champions League fight. And following on from defeat against Everton, I have decided to make 2 changes to the starting 11. Souček comes back in place of James Ward-Prowse to offer us a little bit more defensive solidity. And with Kudos a little bit out of form so far in the last few games, Somerville has come back in to try and cement his place in the starting 11. It's going to be Mavropanis to try and bring it out of defence, and plays in Souček now. Of course, he will be so desperate to try and see if he can impress in James Ward-Prowse's absence, and he's played a nice ball into Paquetá, who's trying to get away from Endo, but the central defensive midfielder doing exactly what you would expect of him and winning the ball back in a really dangerous area. And then our central defensive midfielder has done exactly that as well. Now Lucas Paquetá trying to wriggle away from Matchday. That is a brilliant challenge. And now Darwin Núñez has the pace to skip away from Ajerd. Mavropanis coming off to cover, but Luis Diaz manages to exchange passes with him, and he strikes from distance, forces Areola into his first save of the game. 10 minutes in, and already Liverpool have a corner, and already they are in the ascendancy of the 2 teams. Mo Salah wriggling away from the challenge. Really nicely done. Plays it into Matip. Matip now trying to turn it around into Luis Diaz on the edge of the box. Lines up a strike. In the end, it's blocked off by his own player, and we can clear our lines. Alvarez under a bit of pressure from this relentless Liverpool press here. Doesn't know where to go. In the end, gives it to his central defensive partner. And now Mavropanos can try and bring this one forward. Tries to play it into Gyökeres, but Virgil van Dijk was 1 step ahead of him. Gomez under a bit of pressure from Gyökeres. Manages to wriggle away from it really nicely though, and Mo Salah now turns it around the corner into McAllister, who plays it into the channel into Darwin Núñez. I've got a feeling he is going to be a real troublemaker in this game, as Mo Salah, the big danger man, drives into the box, tries to go past Ajerd, gives it into Jones, straight at Areola, but the warning signs are there for West Ham United if we do not start to up this level of performance. Jarrod Bowen goes central but gives it away to Curtis Jones, and now Luis Diaz can try and bring this one away. He's been chased down by Alvarez, but Enzo gives it back to him. Luis Diaz with a lovely little touch into Curtis Jones, but Van Awig come across. That man has been absolutely brilliant since joining the club in the summer. He's won it back, but Jarrod Bowen under a bit of pressure already as Darwin Núñez tries to bring it forward, but he's done a really good job of wriggling away from the challenge, and now Gyökeres can play it back into the Dutchman. Van Awig down the right-hand side. He's going to try and go past his compatriot Virgil van Dijk. Under some pressure from Mo Salah, but he's done a really good job of just spinning round him and releasing a wonderful ball down the channel into Somerville. But Somerville can't beat Joe Gomez. This Liverpool defence, he's really quick and strong. They're so physical. We're losing all of the 50-50 battles up top, it must be said, as Darwin Núñez has gone and nodded it on into the path of McAllister, and now Alvarez cannot block him off. Luis Diaz over to the left-hand side. Van Awig now is going to try and go one-on-one to try and block him from going in the box, and he's done just that. Brilliant defending yet again. This man can do no wrong so far this season. Gyökeres into the channel for that man, and he's going to try and play it central into Lucas Paquetá. Plays it across to the left-hand side into Somerville. He was looking for the ball into Souček, and he was just inches away from playing it into him as the referee blows for half-time. Well, this is 2 very evenly matched teams so far here today, locked at 0-0, neither able to break the other's defence down, and Lucas Paquetá is hopefully going to try and be the man to try and see if he can spark some sort of creativity and some life into my attack, as Van Awig involved yet again. Jarrod Bowen to throw it across to an unmarked Somerville, who gets the strike all wrong, took it on the volley. To be honest, he had time to chest it down and pick his spot, but just that inexperience and lack of composure in the final third has come to show yet again. That is a big opportunity that we've missed, and now Van Awig has done enough to block off the challenge of Luis Diaz. It's now Lucas Paquetá to try and lift it over the top. Good block off though from Endo, and now Liverpool can bring it forward. End-to-end stuff here at the start of the second half. Mavropanis with a huge block. Lucas Paquetá takes it on now. I'm waiting for the run of Gyökeres. I can't find him. Joe Gomez comes across this time. Good defending from both teams. Liverpool have a free kick here in a dangerous spot. It's going to be Mo Salah. I thought he was going to try and float this one into the box, but instead goes short and just tries to catch my defence out. McAllister now back into Joe Gomez on the right-hand side. Can try and see if he can swing the ball in, but instead holds on to it, plays the short pass into McAllister. Jones into Mo Salah, who's come central. Darwin Núñez too. Mavropanis comes across with a big challenge. What a huge moment that was in the game. Down the line into Somerville. Somerville now. I'm going to try and see if I can look for the run of Gyökeres right over the top. It's a really good ball, but Matip was equal to it. It's been a real battle between the big Swede and the two centre-backs, but so far it's the Liverpool defence that are winning out, and hopefully for them, they're going to hope that their attack is going to win out at the moment as they are deep into my half here. Jones blocked off once again from Van Ewijk. That man has been absolutely brilliant here today, and he's got it back once again, and he tries to play it down the channel, but it's blocked off by the left-back Tsimikas, and now Luis Diaz can try and see, in his absence, if he can ghost past Azure, which he's done just that, drives into the box, Mavropanis comes across. What a huge challenge defensively. These two teams have been absolutely brilliant so far this game. Alvarez now to bring it forward, tried to play it through, but in the end manages to bundle it past McAllister and plays it all the way out to Emerson on the left-hand side, who cuts it back into Somerville. Somerville to try and strike. Virgil van Dijk with the block once again, just lacking that composure to just lift his head up and try and find his man. Mo Salah looks to go out to the left-hand side to Luis Diaz, tries to wriggle away from Van Ewijk, who must be absolutely shot at the moment. His stamina has just gone down the toilet, having had an absolutely relentless game up and down that right-hand flank, but he's still got the composure to pick out a wonderful ball into Jared Bowen, and now the right midfielder can try and see if he can burst down this right-hand side. It's Endo who's come across, plays it central into Paquetá. Souček now has it. Souček in the box. Souček to try and pick out the pass. He doesn't manage to get past the goalkeeper. That was the chance. He couldn't lift it past him. And in the end, it's a brilliant save from Alisson. Darwin Núñez now to release Mo Salah. My word, this is end-to-end. The Egyptian has the pace to burst into the box and try and go past Azure. Into Darwin Núñez. Azure with the last-ditch challenge. My word, how many times have we done that today as the referee blows for full time? Well, what an unbelievable game. I need a moment to try and catch my breath back here. In front of the home fans at the London Stadium, it may have been goalless, but my word, that does not reflect the state of the game. That man, Victor Gyökeres, couldn't find the back of the net like the rest of his West Ham players, as somehow, some way, this game ends 0-0. I think defensive heroics from both ends of the pitch meant that ended a stalemate. But to be honest, for us, that was just a must-not-lose game. We get the job done. We keep the separation of 2 points between ourselves and Liverpool. And now, with just 4 games remaining in the Premier League, one of those coming against our arch-rivals from London, Chelsea, this squad has got the opportunity to do something that I'm sure no West Ham fan would have expected at the beginning of the season, and that is to qualify for the Champions League. But if you want to find out if we can do it, you're going to have to watch the very next episode, as that is that for the end of today's episode. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you again next time.